All right, so with that out of the way, let us now go on to our next story, in which we will go and have a quick discussion about one of the world's richest and one of the most hated people alive, Elon Musk. Oh boy, it really does feel like every time you hear Elon Musk is in the news, it's one of those things that all you could do is just sigh and wonder what the fridge is going on now. What stupid thing has he committed? Because honestly, it feels like day after day, Elon Musk has done something new that is not only absolutely stupid, but some things that are just downright or debatably illegal. Like, I'm sure you have heard of the many different reports about Elon Musk, whether it be doing that lottery thing in Pennsylvania for people, like in order to go and encourage people to vote for Donald Trump, that a lot of people are saying that it might be illegal, but funny enough, none of the people who attended, none of the lottery winners or the participants and stuff like that, nobody got their money, so that turned out to be quite a scam. And then there is also the factor, what else happened with Elon Musk again? I'm trying to remember. There is the factor that it was exposed that he himself is actually an illegal immigrant, or at least when he came in and started working in America, he was actually an illegal immigrant. So there is quite the irony right over there. And there are several other things and several other stupidities that Elon Musk has done. And that's the other thing I just remembered. Technically, he has been in talks with Vladimir Putin for a few years, who is one of America's biggest enemies. So from there, seems to be quite a shocker, and that, well, of course, everybody is calling Elon Musk out to get his security clearance revoked. But yeah, it's all to say that when it comes to Elon, the more you hear about him, the more it's just downright stupidity that he is just downright committing. It's one of those things that one of these days, like, if the world has any common sense, that man should be in frickin' jail. But before any of those things that I have mentioned, the major stupid thing that he has done with one of his companies is specifically this right over here with Twitter, in which he has done a significant update to the block feature. Now, as you guys probably know, that when it comes to Twitter, or when it comes to having a block feature on any social media, it's the biggest and simplest tool to use in order to go and clarify that you want to distance yourself from whatever individual that is giving you problems, whether it be harassing you, whether it be bullying you, trolling you, or whatever. If you don't want to hear from them again, then all you have to do is just block them. That way, they will not be able to interact with you or see any of the posts you have done or go to your profile or anything like that. The block feature is a necessary equipment that allows you to go and distance yourself from the people that you don't want to go and talk to, or you don't want them to talk to you. But in this case, however, Twitter decided to make a significant upgrade, or not an upgrade, an update, to which they decided to go and change up and weaken a little bit of what the block feature can do on the website, where instead of just fully blocking them, now they stated that the person who was blocked, they are not allowed to go and interact with you, but they still can see your posts. They can still check out your profile to see what you have been posting, what you have been talking about, and stuff like that. It's just they are not allowed to go and actually reply to you or make retweets or anything like that. It's just it's just weakening it so that overall it just turns into this glorified mute button. That's all it is. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that the block feature that we all know and love is gone for good on Twitter, because there are ways that you actually can have that block feature come back. And one way is to go and fully private your account. The thing is that this whole thing with what the block feature has done is that it only works on those who set their account to be in public. But if you fully private your account so that only your followers see what you post, then at that point, the people that you have blocked cannot see your posts either, which technically is not necessarily a feature when you think about it, because that is something in which it should already be there in the first place. It doesn't necessarily make sense to say that, oh, well, this is an exception. If you set your account on private, then sure, the people you blocked, they will never see you either way. But then there is also another way that you can do so, and that is if you go and subscribe to their Premium Plus package. Apparently, subscribing to Premium Plus and paying them a bunch of money per month, I don't know what the price is. It's like, what, $16 a month or something like that? You could correct me on the chat wall on that. But apparently, if you pay for the Premium Plus monthly, then you will be able to go and have the regular block feature, in which not only that the people you've blocked cannot interact with you, but also they cannot see your posts, and that's it. So that is the big thing that I want to go and emphasize with what has happened here. And the big question that I just want to go and raise, and by the way, this is actually something that I am fully aware that this is something that everybody should have seen coming. It's not like this idea suddenly came right out of the blue and then suddenly, ta-da! The block button on Twitter has become magically useless now. It's not really that, because for a few years now, maybe at the most a little after Elon bought Twitter, he has often expressed that he just wanted to get rid of the block button altogether. He just wants to get rid of that just get rid of it, make it not exist on Twitter. That is a major thing and there is evidence that he has expressed before. However, he knows that he cannot do that because there are regulations that you have to go and include a block feature, or else your app would not be allowed on services such as iOS or Android or anything like that. You wouldn't have a social media app if you don't have a block feature. That's pretty much the rule right there. So what Elon decided to do is a way to go and compensate, to pretty much still technically have the block feature, but to just go and weaken it. So yeah, this is something that is considered to be a bit of a long time coming. And I know that ever since then, a lot of people have made discussions about the problems of weakening the block feature. The things that are morally problematic, or even some of the things that would be considered legally problematic, with the fact that you lose that block feature and not have it work as well as what the social media apps should be doing. But my personal biggest question when I see this, it's just, who is this for exactly? Who exactly thinks that this is a good idea to go and weaken the block feature, or want to just get rid of it altogether? Who thought that this would be a good plan to go and actually make that update to weaken the block feature, to make it not as strong as it used to be, and have it be so that technically the actual block feature is just a premium thing. It's a luxury to go and have on Twitter. And I know some people will go and immediately answer that it's Elon Musk. He's the one who wants it. In fact, even this article on the AV Club, they called him out on it. They stated right over here, just to go and read you on my source here. Last month, Musk confirmed that changes were coming to X, or as everybody calls it, Twitter's block feature, a previously simple and obvious function of any social media website meant to protect users and prevent harassment. Now, those benefits are largely being thrown out the window because the man in charge can't stand the thought of people talking about him behind his back. Starting soon, accounts you've blocked will still be able to see all of your posts if your account is set to public, but won't be able to interact with them in any way. Previously, blocking an account would hide your posts from that user as well. High time this happened, Musk wrote in his original post. But honestly, at the very least, I can think of 3 more types of people other than Elon Musk who would think this is a good idea or would actually benefit from it. And those would be creeps, stalkers, and harassers. Because the big thing with blocking is that it prevents it's a tool to go and stop these kinds of actions, these kinds of like criminal actions even. Because there are going to be those people on the internet, they will have some serious ill intent to go and let their obsession get the best of them and take it a little bit too far with the people that they want to go and target onto social media, rather it be harassment where they would go, they would take bullying to the extreme, even to the point where they would take it to dangerous levels such as doxing, or in terms of stalking, where there are going to be those people who would love a person or make their personality be about that person in particular, and they would take things too far where they don't understand the definition of boundaries. And in terms of that, now that the blocking is gone, they're going to continue these kinds of toxic habits. They're going to go and continue to go and enable stalkers and harassers to continue their thing and to keep on fueling the toxicity that is already within Twitter. It's just going to make things go exponentially worse right now. And you guys already know, I've been highly critical of the current state of Twitter and how toxic that place has already been, especially with how hate speech has gone extremely rampant. And not to mention that, even the monetization, I think has already made things worse, which all it does is just encourage these types of reactionary posts in order to force people to go and make to go and engage on these flame wars, on rage baiting, on producing outrage out of thin air and all that kind of stuff. You get these people do that all the time on Twitter, 24/7. And Elon is just continuously fueling that fire. Twitter is already just this sinking ship that is on fire. And all Elon is doing is just pouring gas on it and just applying rocks onto that sinking ship in order to make it go down faster and to make this disaster much worse than it already is right now. And that's what I've honestly been seeing ever since this update has been made. And from there, this has been something that for many people, a line has clearly been crossed because, well, maybe not necessarily a lot of people, but a good portion has already decided that they would want to go and try out the different alternatives of Twitter, rather it be Mastodon, Threads, or especially Blue Sky. I'm going to go and say this right now. My account on Blue Sky greatly benefited from that event. In fact, everybody's have greatly benefited because there have been a lot of people who decided to try out Blue Sky and migrated there. And honestly, I've gained legit hundreds of followers since then. I used to be at around 700 or maybe close to 800 or something like that. But then suddenly the update occurred, and now I think I've already surpassed 1,000 followers on my Blue Sky as I'm recording this, by the way. So this is it's honestly something that it really shows. And not to mention that whenever people discuss about Twitter, like people would often say that it really does feel like nobody is happy about everything, or like people are just mad all the time. That seems to be the default mood. Everybody is just angry. Everybody is upset. And all they could talk about is just the things about what they hate all the time. Like it has really gone that bad. But you know, the craziest thing, however, is that even though there's been a good bunch that decided to try to migrate, there are still those that decided to go and return to Twitter. Excuse me, folks. But as I was saying, when I saw, like, there have been some people that they just flat out said that, you know, like they temporarily came back to, you know, they temporarily went to Blue Sky, but they actually stated that they're going to stick to Twitter because it seems to be like the popular place. And that, to me, I feel like it's just the most mind-blowing statement, because at this point, with how bad Twitter has done, why would you want to go and stay and go back onto Twitter? I think that, like, that to me feels like an element that these people are just self-admitting that they have a little bit of a sociopathic side, that they would be willing to go and set their own morals and their mental health, especially, put that aside in order to go and continue to chase clout, in order to seek more attention. They just want to go and go to the place where it's popular, despite how horrible it has become, despite the fact that Twitter has pretty much evolved into a website that is not that different from 4chan or especially compared to Kiwi Farms. Like, now we're seeing a lot more parallels between those two, especially in terms of the toxicity of how the users can be. And at that point, I feel like we're starting to, like, it's starting to be at the point where more and more and more having a Twitter account should be an aspect that should feel problematic, or maybe not necessarily just have a Twitter account, but if you're someone who primarily uses Twitter as their social media to go and like continuously be active and interact with people there, like, I feel like that's going to be an aspect that should be judged and should honestly be questioned, because if considering that Twitter has grown an infamous reputation of having like such a nasty form of toxicity, some of the worst that you could find on the internet in general, then I feel like it's going to be at the point where people will be questioning those active users if they themselves are the kind of people that are fueling that kind of toxicity, regardless of their popularity, regardless of their intentions of using that social media platform. And not to mention that technically, in terms of the popularity, I'd even question that. Especially, like, yeah, sure, maybe you would go and get some massive numbers on Twitter. Maybe you would go and get, like, your, like, whatever post that you would make, the algorithm would go and indicate, like, oh, you're going to get thousands of likes about this, and you'll get millions of views. But then again, how many of those are from actual people? Keep in mind that, like, I know this is a problem with all social media accounts, including ones like Blue Sky, but Twitter especially is infamous in terms of having a serious bot problem, where just about half, or even more than half, of all the users that are on Twitter right now are nothing but bots. So really, is it actually a place that's helping out with your popularity? Is it actually a place that's helping out with your business? Like, really, what is there to gain nowadays from being active on Twitter? You know, it's one of those things that it's just, it's insane. It's crazy to think about how there are people that are still like tolerating the kind of toxicity that is happening on Twitter. Like, it really has gone to the point where it's just, like, it's gone way too far. And if you're going to be like, and again, if you're at the point where you could tolerate all the toxicity that's been commonly brewing on Twitter nowadays, there will be people who will judge you for being a participant of that toxicity because you have an active account, because you are regularly using Twitter. And this is honestly why, in my opinion, I feel like you should start, like, if you haven't already, you should start considering to quit Twitter. Now, I am not saying that you should go and immediately quit Twitter cold turkey. I'm not saying, like, get out of there now, because I know saying that will not work whatsoever, because a lot of people are just going to go and, like, you know, they're going to completely disregard that, or they will do it, but then in the next few days, they're going to get back into the habit. That's why I am saying that you should start thinking about quitting Twitter. Because stuff like this, what you're seeing right here, especially with the fact that now the mute button is going to be virtually useless right now, you know that the toxicity is going to get so much worse, and the flame wars and the rage baiting is going to get increasingly intense. So by that point, you have to start considering how you're going to go and make a plan so that you could kick out of the habit from continuously going on Twitter and to just get out of there. And instead, you could go into some place such as Blue Sky, or maybe even the meta ones, like use Facebook a little bit more often, or Instagram and stuff like that, even though that's not a good option either, technically. But still, it is a bit better than how Twitter is right now. But my point is that you got to start thinking, like, you got to seriously start thinking about it, because at this rate, Twitter is just going to get worse and worse, and you never know what the next update is going to be that is going to make the website so insufferably toxic. And not to mention, considering that the US elections are going to be right around the corner, no matter what the results are going to be, the toxicity shall be amplified to whatever results are going to happen. So I highly do not recommend that you stick around and be active on Twitter while that is happening. So the sooner you jump out of that ship, the better it will be for your own mental health. And I'll even say maybe better for your business, for whatever you're doing, whether it be making videos or have a little shop or doing artwork or whatever. The sooner you get out of there, the better it will be. But again, I'm not going to go and rush you. All I'm asking is to start actually thinking about quitting Twitter if you have not already. All right, so with that said, now that I have expressed my opinion on that, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, what do you all think about the update that Twitter has made? Are you guys officially out of Twitter because of this? Are you thinking about quitting Twitter? How do you feel about the current state of the website? Let me know what you all think. Let's see now. I'm not even that surprised with Elon Musk's stupidity anymore. With his decision to weaken the block feature, he would be more than willing to allow Twitter to become more and more of a hate speech site. No wonder people are flocking on Blue Sky, not to mention it's happening at the worst possible time with the presidential election right around the corner, which will make Twitter an even more toxic dumpster fire. Exactly. So that's why I'm giving you that warning right now. And instead, yeah, like if you need that alternative, then I highly recommend you go with Blue Sky, especially when the block feature on that site, it is so much better than any other site so far. Like it's one of those websites that you will find that trolls, grifters, and rage baiters, they hate it, which is perfect because those are the people who shouldn't even use the internet in the first place. Anyways, my big question can be applied to all of his other updates. Who does this benefit? It doesn't benefit the average Twitter user, since now they're defenseless against cyberbullies and stalkers, and doesn't benefit him since all it's doing is driving Twitter's values to the gutter. Isn't he supposed to be the smartest man in the world? I'll cap this off by saying this is why I'm gravitating towards Blue Sky more and more these days. Yeah, exactly, man. All right, let's see now. Musk is basically Dr. Evil. Actually, Dr. Evil is looking pretty good by comparison. At least Dr. Evil is actually funny and makes me laugh. Elon is the real kind of evil no one likes, and I'm not laughing at all. It's pain sounds. I'm shocked we let him be successful. Why didn't we stop him much sooner? Without the block feature, Twitter is seriously becoming very dangerous for everyone to use. I'm happy that I'm only sticking to Instagram and Blue Sky. Instagram isn't perfect, but it's not Twitter. I definitely do agree. I mean, I use Facebook and Instagram, and they're not great either. And they have their fair share of cyberbullies, rage baiters, and bots as well. But honestly, for now, they are more tolerable than Twitter. But even that is But either way, though, yeah, definitely stick. For now, Blue Sky seems to be the best option or the best alternative. This really feels like the final nail in the coffin for Twitter. This has really made me consider quitting that site for good, not only because of the nerfed block feature, but also the fact that all the posts, including tweets, photos, and art starting November 15th, will be fed into Grok. I'm planning to purge all of my tweets and artwork using Redact, which I fully recommend. Thanks, Muskrat. Ooh, honestly, that's a good note. I should use that as well. And yeah, especially if all the posts that you will be making, if it's going to be fed onto the AI machine, then yeah, you better get rid of them as soon as possible. I'll go and take note to go into purge all of my tweets before that ever happens. Let's see, what other comments are there? I don't think I have a lot of time, so I'll just read a couple more. I can't believe Musk would allow this to Twitter. Then again, I probably should have seen this coming. I have a strong feeling Musk would get what's coming to him. I heard the DA in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is suing Musk for his $1 million sweepstakes for Trump voters. I consider Musk evil for about more than a year now, and I always imagine Musk with a German accent to describe his villainy, even though he does not in reality. I mean, he's an I don't know how to pronounce this correctly, but he's an Arpahide. He's someone who enables Nazis, and anybody who doesn't think all Nazis should die, they are evil. They are the kind that should be put in prison as soon as possible. So honestly, I don't blame you. And just to go back into the final nail in the coffin comment, honestly, I feel like that true final nail in the coffin, I still believe one day it's going to happen because Elon did consider this, but one of these days, Twitter is going to be paywalled immediately. There's going to be a time when Twitter's business is going to be so bad, or Elon's business in general is going to be so terrible, he's going to paywall Twitter in its entirety, where everybody would have to pay in order to use that website. One of the, I know, I've mentioned that before, it hasn't happened yet, but I mean, we saw that he finally did that thing with Twitter. He finally did that thing with the block feature. I'm sure he's going to do that with the paywall thing someday. Anyways, I'll read one more comment before we go on to the next break. Let's see. I completely saw this entirely to the moment it was briefly mentioned in the rumor. I'll even say now, I even took your advice on getting off of Twitter, but it's more just abandoning the site than permanently leaving. It's a working process. The reason I have Twitter is just that I love looking at fan art, fan fiction, fan comics. I can't help but to force the habit for me. Now, considering this block function is becoming useless, I think I have a full-on reason to quit now. Exactly. And that's why I'm saying not to go and quit immediately, but to start thinking about it. Have a plan for you to kick out of the habit to leave Twitter. And this could be something that could take you weeks, it could take you months, but have something where you no longer become dependent on Twitter. No matter what the reason may be, it will be for the best, because at this point, you have nothing to lose when you're out of Twitter.